I am so happy and grateful that the Lord has blessed me to play in some snow, to be in true football weather.
Ah, yes, true football weather. 'Cause frostbite never hurt anyone. Saquon Barkley set a career high and a franchise record for the Eagles with 255 yards. Josh Jacobs had a hat trick against an understaffed Niners squad. And Tommy DeVito was back as the Giants continue to play Texas Hold'em with Uno cards. Welcome to Shut Up Football. I'm Jeff Stoltzfus. That's Kevin. Join us as we vandalize Week 12 of the NFL season by making it make even less sense than it already does.
The AFC North couldn't be any northier. In a game that would end with more white powder than the Dallas Cowboys locker room, Steelers kicker Chris Boswell leads the league in points, which is just embarrassing. 99% of his job is sitting. He's basically the lifeguard. He only comes in when the Steelers start to drown, which apparently is enough to lead the league in points. In the third quarter, things took a turn as Mother Nature tried to bury them all. This thing was hit with a snowstorm. They called it football weather, or as homeless people call it, fuck! They put virtual markers on the field that removed the snow, which begs the question, why not do the whole field? Where does the technology end and laziness begin? Jameis Winston dove into the end zone, but it came at a great cost. His helmet's guts were spilling out and flopping in his face. It was the communication device. It was picking up AM radio, and they had to fix it fast. Winston is deathly allergic to Mexican accordion music, and it was gonna be hell finding his EpiPen in this. Justin Fields saw some action in this game too. Hey, there he is. They called the Browns fans loyal because they didn't leave, as if their balls weren't frozen to their seats. 50% of each ref was missing. I have no idea what happened in this game. It was harder to decipher than the No-No channel on my parents' cable growing up. Maybe Calvin Austin scored a touchdown, and I think I saw a boob. Yep, sure did. Nick Chubb must have had a Sherpa because he found the end zone. George Pickens fought to the bitter end, which is to say, after the game was already over. The Browns got the victory, and I assume a hot shower and a bowl of soup, aka a hobo's delight. Winston said all the glory went to God, which is what I would call Myles Garrett too, after 3 sacks and a forced fumble. Damian Pierce opened this game with one giant chunk. CJ Stroud's starting position was inside the red zone. It only took one play to score. Rookie Cade Stover, who looks like the Gerber baby grew up in a Mad Max movie. Nick Westbrook-Akina beat the ass off Derek Stingley, and Will Levis found him for a score. The Texans defense showed little interest in tackling Tony Pollard. He chewed up 100 yards and scored a touchdown. For a second, I thought we were gonna see 2 refs kiss. A scene straight out of the pages of my referee fan fiction, but no, they were just talking. CJ Stroud couldn't evade pressure and was sacked in the end zone. How did that become the sign for safety? It looks like you forgot how to pray. And maybe they did, as the Texans lost. Roshan Johnson is a touchdown vulture. He's got early onset Jamal Williams syndrome. DeAndre Carter made a huge mistake. He was unnecessarily close to a punt, and it bounced off his inner thigh. Yeah, right, said a suspicious Mrs. Carter. They turned the ball over. DJ Moore scored a touchdown. He's not even a real DJ. Flat out refused to play Mike Quinceanera. The Bears needed an onside kick, and a miracle. They got one after it bounced off Johnny Munt's cankle, and the Bears recovered it. This game went to overtime. Break out the manifesto. There was mass confusion after a member of the chain gang was injured, which sounds cooler than it is. I can't believe we're still held hostage by chain technology. It's not even blockchain. How would you even explain this to a child or artificial intelligence, which is kind of the same thing? Someone telegraph for help. This game started with special teams hell. Brandon Aubrey had a field goal blocked. Then he missed one. Then Austin Seibert missed one. The Cowboys had a punt tipped. They went into the half tied at 3, which equaled how it felt. No one was winning. You hear that, advertisers? Your dollars were wasted. And then all hell broke loose with the wildest 3 minutes of football. Cavante Turbin performed the old drunk dreidel and took one to the house. Terry McLaurin got wide open in the middle of 3 defenders and went the distance. Slow down, my heart medicine hasn't kicked in yet. They only needed the PAT to tie it, and he missed it! Special teams showing how special they are. But wait, we're not done yet, because they went for an onside kick, and this giddy cowboy forgot to fall down. He ran it all the way back because scoring is fun. The Commanders threw their second Hail Mary of the season, but this one was not approved by God. Tua Tagovailoa was more efficient than a stripper with OCD. 4 touchdowns to Devon Achane, Jonnu Smith, and Jalen Waddle, who went ham with over 140 yards. It's a tragedy Coach Mayo doesn't have Will Levis for quarterback. The Patriots went scoreless into the fourth quarter when Drake May found Austin Hooper lonely by the goal line. Sometimes the rookie just needs 3 to 4 quarters to get going. The Dolphins were so dominant, they sent Tua to the sideline to practice his art. He's a great quarterback when vertical, but he's a shit artist. Sure, they put it on the fridge like any good parent, but the second he's off for school, garbage. Jalen Wright bumbled a handoff, and Christian Gonzalez got a scoop and score, the only bright spot for this defense on a day without the sun. This matchup had the appeal of a clown funeral, but it was surprisingly fun, like a clown funeral. Patrick Mahomes scored 3 touchdowns. They called him the GOAT. If you want to see how good he is, trade him to the Panthers. Even a dung beetle can lift twice their weight. I made that up, but it turns out it's actually true, and now you know. 2 of Mahomes' touchdowns went to Noah Gray, his second week in a row of being suspiciously relevant. He was scoring liberally and sliding into Taylor's DMs. How long until Bryce Young gets old? Chuba hovered his way into the end zone. He even got the 2 after to tie it. But the Chiefs got a back-breaking 30-yard scamper out of Mahomes. Like an aging vacuum, the Panthers suck a little less every week.
Hey! It's Tommy DeVito over here!
Tommy DeVito, aka Tommy Cutlets, was back on the scene. And by scene, I mean ground. Walk it off, Tommy. They're just lungs. The Giants no longer have Danny Dimes to kick around. He was stripped of his position and sold for scrap. This joke of an organization is giving fans the finger, or at the very least, back up Drew Lock, who was leapfrogged for a chance to start by a meme. And the Bucs punished them thusly. 4 rushing touchdowns evenly distributed. Today, everyone eats, but only a little, like a baby bird. Baker Mayfield scrambled for a score, and after, he celebrated like Tommy DeVito. Pretty sure that's cultural appropriation, but he's a pirate, so I'll allow it. Tiki Barber sounds like a job in Hawaii. The Giants didn't score a point until the fourth quarter, and by then, their fans were headed back to their jobs at the city morgue, where there was infinitely more life than the Giants. Anthony Richardson scored 0 touchdowns, a less than ideal number. But he also put up 61 yards rushing, running between failed drives. It would have helped greatly if the pass catchers caught his passes, or they weren't called back because of penalty. The Lions ran all over the Colts. Jahmyr Gibbs scored 2 touchdowns. He was penalized on the second one for taunting. My least favorite penalty after bubbing and swaffling. What could he possibly have said that was worth a penalty? Run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay, I get it now. He was flagged for copyright infringement. If Amon-Ra St. Brown ever transitions, I'd call her Mona St. Brown. It's a minor change, unlike the plumbing. Anthony Richardson fumbled, and defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn took a seat. Bring that man a drink and his slippers. Bo Nix might just be the offensive rookie of the year, and if he is, I demand the release of his birth certificate, which I'm confident will confirm his true name, Bonifer Nix. Scott Turner was the Raiders' interim offensive coordinator. Nice of them to give people new opportunities to be scapegoated. Rookie running back Dylan Lobby had a huge kick return. He's an impressive rookie with resting mortgage face. Gardner Minshew was intercepted. Another rough day for Motorcycle, the man. There were 9 field goals in this thing. Forget the QBs. It was Daniel Carlson versus Will Lutz. Which is how I honestly feel overtime should be handled. A series of kicks with escalating difficulties. I don't mean just distance. Let them choose the angle too. Like a game of horse. Left foot, right foot, both feet. Take your overpriced arm jockeys out of the equation and let these toe Highlanders duel. Cortland Sutton had 2 scores, and the Broncos are seeing the impossible. Sean Payton doing cardio.
Well, Adam, everybody's alive in the NFC West.
Why does she sound so surprised? What has she set in motion? Geno Smith leads the league in pass yards per game. He also leads the league in interceptions. and asses handed to him. He's taken a lot of sacks this year, and this game was no different. But he wasn't the only one. This game had 10 sacks. That's a full sauna. There were so many near misses in this game. This is not an interception. This is not a fumble. This is not a finished topiary. How is that not a pass? You'd think Murray of all people would have a shorter release. There were 11 punts, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. This game was messier than a dumpster behind an abortion clinic. Kyler Murray overthrew his receiver by 2 full golden retrievers, which is how I measure things now, after a misunderstanding of the golden standard. And it turned into a pick 6. It was the only touchdown Murray threw all day. The Niners were without Brock Purdy. He had restless hand syndrome or something. I'm not a doctor. It was Brandon Allen who got the start. A man who hadn't played in 3 years, a whole metaverse ago. Tom Brady was on the call, but I wouldn't know a thing about it. I opened my window and threw fruit at my neighbors' cars, and I'd rather listen to car alarms and threats to my safety. Josh Jacobs scored 3 times. He's a Lambeau leap junkie, and he'd do anything to get his fix. Deebo Samuel had a huge kick return, all the way down to the 8, aka a leper's dozen. But it was called back for holding. No word on who was Big Spoon and who was Little Spoon, but it negated an 87-yard kick return. Oh, the irony! His return was returned. In the 4th quarter, everything came apart. Brandon Allen fumbled, Christian McCaffrey fumbled, fans were losing their teeth. I guess a Niners loss was just too sweet. A.J. Brown scored a touchdown for the minimum amount of steps before it was punched out. Puka Nacua went over 100 yards. Oh, thank God celebrities were there. Kevin Hart with a mini slider is redundant. Mike Tirico called this game after he tore his Achilles, but I'm not gonna dwell on it. The important thing is, she got away. The refs assembled for a very serious discussion, and Sean McVay knew what must be done.
I'm gonna take my pants off.
They brought in a tiny man in a box to translate Nick Sirianni's Italian hand gestures. It's a me, Mario! Never mind all that because this game was only about one man, Saquon Barkley, who had 302 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns, and a top speed of 88 miles per hour. He broke records and tore a hole in the space-time continuum after he got his own mother pregnant in the past and became his own father. Now he runs not to pay child support to himself. This man can outrun his own shadow and cooks minute rice in half the time. Kiss my ass, Joe Shane. It was Harbaugh versus Harbaugh. Not since Shaft in Africa have I seen 2 brothers this at odds. Troy Aikman was late to the broadcast. He took the blimp. Justin Herbert got a rushing touchdown. Run, Herbie. Run like a woman fleeing a burning building with her baby. Now spike it. Derrick Henry went over 100 yards and punished defenders. It was like trying to tackle a hungry minotaur. They called this a Greg Roman revenge game. I didn't realize diabetes was playing in this game. The Chargers have been eating the Ravens' leftovers. One man's trash is another man's starting lineup. My stepdad was there. Yep, that's how he got my mom. Congratulations to Ryan Clark for escaping whatever marching band was holding him hostage. J.K. Dobbins was having himself a night until he was having himself an injury. He's a talented back whose body seems to be made of Thin Mints and Genoese sponge. Lamar Jackson scored 3 touchdowns and avoided defenders with the nonchalance of a Fonzie. That guy couldn't catch Lamar Jackson if he was stitched to him in a human centipede. The Ravens won this Har Bowl. Congratulations, Jim. Or is it John? I can never remember. Would it have killed your parents to name one of you Jamiroquai? Or earn a nickname throughout your life based on one of your defining characteristics? Like herpes.
And now the soft pretzel of the week.
Yummy.
This week, the pretzel goes to Chuba Hubbard. Hubbard was drafted in the 4th round in 2021. He was never anything more than Christian McCaffrey injury insurance. And even after McCaffrey was traded to the Niners, Hubbard split time with Deontay Foreman, and then Miles Sanders the following year. He was never the guy. This offseason, the Panthers drafted Jonathan Brooks in the 2nd round, who many considered to be the best back in the draft. And he's only now just healthy enough to start getting some game action. But so far this season, Chuba Hubbard has been the guy for the Panthers. Through 11 games, he's already reached 1,000 yards from scrimmage and 8 total touchdowns. He's averaging nearly 5 yards per attempt, which if you don't know, is good. Last Sunday, when it mattered most, they leaned on Hubbard to get both the touchdown and the 2-point conversion to tie the game. It's been a long, slow rise, and it might not last for long, but for now, Chuba Hubbard is the best thing about the Carolina Panthers. Kudos, Chuba! Keep pounding, and stay salty, my friend. Thanks for watching Shut Up Football. Please leave your comments below, say hi to your mom for me, and we'll see you next week. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.